Hey divas, it's Ingrid Anna. I'm just driving around and I was speaking to one of the girls that works for me, and I wanted to talk to you today about liquid IP. Now, what do I mean by that? Really, it's quite simple. Sometimes in life, we have these, as a human being, I don't think we escape this. We have these challenges in our lives. And this week I wrote a post about all the different things I've done in my career, working at a current affair, which was an interesting journey, with producers calling women the C word, kind of all the contention and the kind of misogyny there, all these different experiences that I've had in my life, losing my business to fraud by a lawyer who stole my corporate kid in New York, all these different experiences, right? And I was talking about really shifting the perception of them, because sometimes we can kind of get trapped up in the story and the drama of it, the pain of it, the trauma of it, right? But as you probably know, some of those experiences in life can be our greatest teachers if we can take stock and really look at them from an objective point of view. So I wanted to invite you today to really look at, say, 5 key pivotal points in your life thus far, right? It could have actually been a really beautiful experience. It might have been something to do with giving birth or a new love that you had, right? It doesn't have to always be a dark or a heavy experience, right? Because we can learn through absolute, like when I first started selling and making a lot more money, that was a beautiful experience. Hey, Monique, when I started having more clients, and like I just had a client, I was just shot a photo of me. Where is it? This client of mine, looks like it's, hey gorgeous, it's actually a beautiful client of mine dropped over this chicken broth for me because I've had a cold for about 5 weeks. It's been intense. Like I actually got flu A. It's not been a cold, it's been the flu. So I'm coming out of it right now. We were meant to go hiking and I was going to meet her in person. She's in my diva mind, and she dropped this around today and a few other gifts for me. So that was beautiful. So, giving birth to my daughter, beautiful experience, life-changing, and that's taught me so much. So write down 5 pivotal, I can't even say the word today, pivotal life-changing moments. For me, a lot of my big teaching has come through some of the most painful experiences of my life. Being ripped off by that lawyer in New York with my company taught me really about trusting my own self, that the only person that's irreplaceable in my business is me, because I was given a warning and I didn't follow it. And that was because of fear. It was a fear-based response. And so usually, in life, if you're constantly running on the fear or drama, you perpetuate that, right? And you make some really poor choices along the way. So write it down and then look at the lesson, look at the liquid gold, look at the gift in those experiences, because from that is going to come your absolute magic. You're going to be able to turn that mess and make it money. So you're going to have a shift in consciousness around those experiences. You're going to pull in some golden wisdom around what that has taught you. And then what you're going to do when you're starting to package up your work and write more amazing copy, coming up with your curriculum, you're going to use that gold. And that's why it's golden IP. It's your intellectual property, that it's so rich, right? These experiences that I've had in my life, the way that I deal with people and money and building my company through also mistakes, hiring all sorts of people who didn't honor their word and that kind of stuff in my journey, has given me like gold, right? Raising capital in New York, raising over $500,000, running that company, working in corporate America as an advertising executive, selling and pitching TV shows, and all those experiences that I've had. Some of them great, some of them not so great. Hi, Marcia. Hey, everyone. Have when I'm now here in my business, it's quite wonderful because it just gives me so much gold, and then I'm able to pass that on and accelerate that for people. So the objective right now, the action, hey gorgeous ones, is to write down at least 5. Maybe you're going to get 10 experiences. Like, for example, so many people, we don't escape it, being human beings living in a body that can be very strong and resilient and knows how to heal itself, and a body that can get sick. So right now I could talk to you for the next half hour about ascension, about what I've gone through the last a month around clearing out lots of different stuff in my life, but I will tell you one core thing in a minute. But when I went through, I had a benign tumor in my uterus, right, and I had 3 surgeries. Anyway, all these gynecologists, female gynecologists, told me nothing was wrong with me, and at least I had the awareness that I was like, something's happening right now, because I literally keep bleeding out of my body. So there's something wrong, and now I'm going yellow. But it taught me so much about trusting my own self and honoring my voice, and not to allow someone to tell me that I was absolutely nuts, things like that. So really look at it, and you could probably write about 3 to 5 key teachings for each experience. And then if you want to take it further, then you want to copyright the F out of that stuff. So people just throw stuff down at the beginning, just throw it down, get it down. But then when you're really wanting to craft your intellectual property, you want to give it like really, really groovy, yummy, tangible brand names. So, you know, if I was talking about sensuality, it might be the sensual siren process, things like that, so that you can really, it helps people to learn, it helps people to remember, it helps you to be able to do a video and then refer to it and create a whole curriculum potentially around even one core lesson. So if you have 5, you know, one core thing that happened in your life, you have 5 big breakthrough aha teachings. That's almost like a curriculum on itself. It could be just a module, but it could almost be a program unto itself. So I hope I've been able to share that with you. Sorry, I've still got a cold and I can't really completely string it together. So I'm struggling a bit today. I'm still like, woo! It's like I'm on drugs. The thing that's been happening for me a lot at the moment with the Ascension, it's just really, guys, I think, you know, so many of us, myself included, you know, sometimes we perpetuate old wounds, and we don't really fully let them go. So I feel like we're at that time in our life where I think we're done with our stories. And thank you, Alicia. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And we're going into a new realm, and we're not quite there yet. But anything and everything that is not in alignment with where you're going needs to literally leave your being, leave your cells. And I think the biggest thing for me is letting go and surrendering it even more deeply around my work, around my contribution, around whether people can process it and run with it. We have a lot of students at the moment doing incredibly well, and there's a deep level of teaching there for them and support. And then also I'm just learning to sort of let go a lot more. And I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, like let go of people's outcomes, because I do a lot and I give a lot. And it's kind of like every single person is responsible for their own self and their soul and their path, and they're the creatrix, right? And so I've become quite busy in my business. I've become not so much like busy, but there's so many more people coming in. It's a whole different realm of running an organization. I have a big team that I have to manage. So there's only, it's interesting. It's like I can't, it's like I'm forced to empower people even on a more deeper level to take responsibility for themselves. And so there's a letting go in that for me, and just a trust in that, and trusting that the work that we do is, you know, of great quality, and that people will make a choice about whether they really run with it or not. And so I'm just sort of, I don't know, it's hard to explain a little bit. I'm just letting it go, like really letting it go. People will either choose to rise or they won't. And trusting that whatever they choose is right for them, and it's all good. And it's really, it goes beyond me. I don't need to drag people anywhere to do anything. It's like, okay, so this is the work, this is the process, this is what you need to do. And if you're going to stay trapped in your story for eons and eons and eons, that's your choice. This is the process that we teach you to get out of that and to break that pattern, which is complete illusion anyway, and usually a form of self-sabotage and victimhood. And then they have to run with that. So that's about it for today. I'm sending you guys so much love. I'm shopping for my daughter's, my pleasure, Marcia. I'm shopping for my daughter's 5-year-old 5-year birthday party coming up in a couple of days. And I've got parents and grandparents and people like that traveling to be with her this weekend. So I'm going to go and play, have some fun. And I saw Debbie just join here. Hey, Debbie. And I hope you guys have a blessed weekend. Take time to rest, sleep, nourish. If you're feeling funky at the moment, so many people are, it's okay. You're safe. You're ascending. Trust in that. And just let go, because you're going to be in a whole other dimension really soon. And my only other advice around that is to be really clear of what you desire. Get laser lucid clear, and really work towards really fully owning that, unapologetically claiming your truest, highest calling, right? Your highest reality, because the truth is you can create whatever you desire, absolutely. So I'm a big believer in quantum physics and the law of energy. And when you really claim it deep in your soul, everything that is not in alignment must go. And so that's where a lot of people are at right now. Even from, like how I interact with my husband. There was a pattern that I noticed where slightly passive aggressive kind of in the way sometimes he would speak to me. And I'm like, babe, it's just, I'm such a sensitive spirit. Like, it's just so unnecessary, and it has to do with all your stuff. And he's a lovely guy. He's so beautiful. He's a really gentle soul. But there was just this pattern. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not up for it. It's just not up for it. So it's just gotta go deal with it, darling. And it's not for me to deal with. It's your stuff, so go deal with it. You go take care of it. But it's not how I want to live. The way that I live in my home, and the way that I intend to run my company, my business as we continue to grow, is like a dance. It has to be yummy and rich and easy, and I need to have people that get it and hear me and follow through, people that are outstanding at what they do. Someone just said to me, I was looking at hiring a new ad manager, and she's like, oh, your sort of personality and like the way that you are. And I'm like, do you want me to tell you how I am? Because some people get a bit confused. They don't know me that well. Let me give you a take. Hey, Belinda. So resonate with what you're saying, releasing the sense of responsibility over others' choices. Yes, and results as a coach. It's a big one. So interested to learn how you're moving through this. Well, at the end of the day, I will just tell you one other thing. You can only do so much. Like, we're known to give unparalleled support, but at the end of the day, you can only give so much. I have girls making 70 grand cash in 7 weeks working with me. I have others that are still taking their time, and that's okay. Not everyone needs to go as quickly as fast. I have people doing $600,000 launches in a very quick amount of time, and I do believe some people need to take longer, because if there's more trauma and whatnot, I get all of that. I get the ascension process. I get it can be such a huge shift for someone to ascend rapidly, right? And their body and their soul and their spirit may not be ready for that. And then there's also the procrastination and the fear and the sabotage. And that's, that is a choice that those people are making, because really I will call it out. And then if they don't move through it and they keep going with that pattern, I'll keep calling it out. But at the end of the day, they will either choose energetically, emotionally, and spiritually to liberate themselves from that pattern, or they won't. And that has nothing on me. For me to continue to do the work, and this is a big lesson for me, Debbie, and for everyone listening, this is a big shift that I've made. I think my whole life I've spent wanting people to like me. So I'll like give and give and give, and say yes and yes and yes, and then give more and more and more and more. And that's sometimes not always, it's great to be a generous person, but the best way to have generosity and maintain your well-being and your health, and make sure that you don't have people try to use you and take advantage, is to have the highest integrity for yourself, right? And often as women, sorry, there's messages coming up on my phone. Often as women, we are taught from young girls to give at the detriment of our own sense of well-being, right? That's how we get our value. And so I see this pattern a lot with women, including with myself, where we give and give and give, and that's how we feel good about ourselves, because that's how we've been conditioned to get our value. But if you start with the highest sense of self-love and value, and you don't need someone to even praise you or like you or validate you, and you realize that you give 100%, and you understand human psychology, and you understand the law of energy, at the end of the day, it is up to each individual person to rock it. Like, I have clients who are doing close to $1 million. How does that happen, right? Yes, I'm a very good strategist. I'm excellent at branding. I made people move at an accelerated rate. But the ones that get those results, it's a co-creation. Those women have become incredibly deliberate. They've made an incredible choice, and they run with everything that I say. I had a client of mine who had something dodgy sort of happen in her personal life, and she literally barely had like a cent. And she had kids to feed, and it was just not a nice situation that she was in. And I told that woman, do this, do this, do this, do this, and do this. And she just literally went and did every single thing I said, and like just ran with it, and like literally she's got this incredibly flourishing full-on business, right? Now, I'm not going to say what it is right now because I don't want to give it away. I've interviewed her recently, but we haven't shared the whole story. Anyway, she's doing really, really well. She's just completely booked out right now. So, but that person and those people are the ones that actually do the work. Otherwise, it really doesn't work. So you have to really understand that, and you have to have the highest integrity for yourself. So I honestly believe that a me first attitude will lead to a lot less me too, and will be a great teaching for all women, where we don't buy into this overgiving. It's like radical deep self-love, radical self-honoring, so that you're full. Otherwise, if you go into that complete caretaker overgiving role and you're trying to pick people up, we're not actually teaching them to do it themselves, right? So if you want to be a powerful leader, you're wanting to be a powerful teacher, and you cannot do it for people, right? It just, unless someone's like doing complete done for you services, but it's still at the end of the day, they need to be able to, say someone created someone like this amazing funnel, that person still has to be able to really sell on webinars. They need to understand the skill, and they need to be able to understand intonation and emotional branding and communication. And then they have to absolutely learn that, right? Unless they're going to do it on audio. If they do it on audio with no video, then you still have to be able to have all of that. So I think I'm just laughing a little bit at the way I've trapped myself up sometimes with that that overgiving nature. It's unnecessary, and I see so many women do it. So have integrity. Say to yourself, if I was really in integrity with myself and loving and honoring of myself, where are my boundaries? What am I going to say yes to, and what am I going to say no to? And in every area of your life, not just with your business and with clients, with your relationship, with your children, how you treat yourself with your body. What are you saying yes to, and what are you saying no to? What's really nourishing, and what's really going to light you up and fill you up, and what's a heck no, and what's a heck yes, right? Okay, guys, I better go shopping. What have I got? I've got about 25 minutes. Excuse me. There's that cough. Excuse me. So I'm sending you guys so much love. Have a beautiful weekend. It's Friday here in Australia. Have a beautiful weekend, and we will connect soon. Blessings.